Good morning. Welcome to Just for Today, a time of eclectic readings, sharing of perspectives, meditation, and prayer. I'm Reverend Rafe Ellis, a senior minister and spiritual leader of the newly joined Centers for Spiritual Living of Columbia and Greater Baltimore. Today is September 25th. And this morning we're reading from The Voice of Knowledge by Don Miguel Ruiz with Janet Mills. And I opened it up to page 174, and here's what it offers us. Humans are made for love. Before knowledge, it was easy to open our heart and to love, and we just walked away from whatever was not love. But with the voice of knowledge in our head, we walk away from love and we go for what is not love. We always have a choice. And if we love ourselves, we choose love. We do not allow ourselves to be hurt by accepting other people's opinions or abuse. If other people abuse us, they are abusing us because we stay there, because we allow that to happen. And if we stay, it's because we believe that we deserve the abuse, and we are using them for self-punishment. If we don't have awareness, we blame when the solution is not to blame. The solution is to step aside and not be there. Now, I know people who will hear that and instantly be defensive. And I invite us all to pay attention, especially if we feel activated, triggered, reactive, whatever word you use, by the bluntness of that offering. Many times, staying in abusive environments, in abusive relationships, lends itself to a deeper and deeper experience of victim beliefs. We actually convince ourselves that we don't have a choice, that we can't leave, because the options that we see oftentimes through the lens we're looking look worse than the abuse that we're experiencing. Are we aware that that is self-hatred? Probably not. Probably not. I think most of us have some awareness of a sense of helplessness, a sense of stuckness, a sense of powerlessness, all of which erodes our sense of self. And I don't think many of us ever view it as self-hatred. And at the core, I think Don Miguel is spot on. And I think it's a hard truth to sit with. Because essentially the way I experience that reading is that to stay in those spaces of abuse are to essentially say that I'm not worth taking the risks and experiencing the uncertainty of what's next. And I understand what he's saying about, if I really love myself, that risk isn't actually a risk. It's just an adventure, right? And I think we're all grappling with centuries of human conditioned thinking. What I lovingly refer to as our volumes of shouldapedia that operate in our head, telling us what we should do when love guides us to what we could do. Love being that place where we get to show up as our full, unguarded, uncompromised, undefended, glorious selves. And if I'm being completely candid, I have found those spaces to be more rare than is comfortable to admit. I dream of a world where everywhere we go, that space simply is. And when it comes right down to it, it's still, as Don Miguel says, a choice. Because I can choose to be my authentic, undefended, vulnerable, amazing self everywhere I go. What I can't do is control what other people do with that, with me. And I can refuse to shrink. I can refuse to stay in that environment. And I can refuse to give one iota of my power away. And I can refuse to hate because of how they respond. I can choose compassion. I can choose love. It's all a choice. My experience is my choice. Your experience is your choice. I cannot choose how other people behave. I can choose how I behave, and I can choose how I respond to how you behave. There's always a choice. Always. So I'm going to read that passage one more time. And I invite you to just be present with whatever comes up for you hearing it. To be open to at least consider these words. And then to sit with whatever comfort or discomfort they bring up. Here we go. Humans are made for love. But before knowledge, it was easy to open our hearts into love, and we just walked away from whatever was not love. But with the voice of knowledge in our head, we walk away from love, and we go for what is not love. We always have a choice, and if we love ourselves, we choose love. We do not allow ourselves to be hurt by accepting other people's opinions or abuse. If other people abuse us, they are abusing us because we stay there, because we allow that to happen. And we stay, it's because we believe we deserve the abuse, and we are using them for self-punishment. If we don't have awareness, we blame, when the solution is not to blame. The solution is to step aside and not be there. Let's take that into our time of meditation and contemplation. I am delighted to know that there is only one life, one source, one substance, one everything that is simultaneously no thing. The formed and the unformed, one and the same. Infinite possibility, continuously expressing itself in a multiplicity of form, yet never separate from itself, never used up by its creation, but rather expressing itself through the expression and experience of itself. Known by so many names, and yet not one name is sufficient to encompass all that it is. Nameless. And while it expresses in an infinite number of forms and infinite expressions of form, it, at the essence of itself, is changeless because it already is everything. It simply is. And being unlimited, being unbounded, being unrestrained, having no circumference, its very center is everywhere present. And I know that I am that in form. All that the infinite is, lives, moves, and has its being in, through, and as this thing I call my life. It is the breath I breathe. It is the body I move about in. It is this earthly plane in which I express. And what is true of me must be true of all. I am in inseparable kinship with all that is, everybody, everything, sharing the substance of one creator, of one creation. Whole, perfect, and complete at the core. Pure love in form. And so the capacity to be love fully exists. And it is only the errant thinking in my very human brain that is a misuse of principle, that creates the experience that is out of alignment with love. And so I return over and over again to this healing power of prayer, of spiritual mind treatment, to neutralize every human thought, every conditioned thought that is out of resonance with the spiritual truth of life, and to step more fully with each breath into being that love, into expressing that love, into receiving that love. A greater experience of refusing to shrink, refusing to compromise for less than love. And at the same time to love boldly enough to walk away in the spirit and activity of compassion and love, holding that mental equivalent that all are healed. Refusing to engage in the convenience of separating myself mentally when I need to walk away physically. To care for this human experience and to remember there is no separation in one. To live boldly in the both and, forsaking the either or. And I am so grateful. Grateful for a love that is so powerful. It can't not love. So I know that the activity of law, the doer within the creative process, is love in action. And so I know that that unfiltered aspect of the creative process has already received the mental picture of love, the words spoken, acted upon it and made it so. It is already done. And so I, at the human level, can release all of that knowledge chatter, all of that brain interference. And I can choose again and again to live a palpable experience of love. So I let go. I let go of anything that would block my full experience, expression, and reality of love. I let it all go. And I step boldly, undefendedly, courageously, wildly, openly into this day to be the presence of love, to see the presence of love, to receive the presence of love. Everywhere I go, with every breath I breathe. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amen. Amen. And so it is. Namaste.